So just a quick one on the member benefits programme. So Lucy and I have been working together essentially to ramp up the benefits available to ICG members. Obviously, it's a great community in itself and really supportive. The aim of this, though, is to add sort of a financial benefit and a unique benefit to members that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And this comes from partnering with all types of providers within the industry and giving them a platform, as we're doing with Neil and Glow, to tell us more about what they do, so we get to learn about what they do, and also offering something unique, exclusive, and a significant discount. So there's a significant benefit to being a member of the ICG as well as being part of the ICG community. I think we're sort of trying to aware of that. So just a tiny bit of housekeeping. This is obviously really informal, but we're recording this session, so we'll be sending this out to other ICG members. If you don't want your background and your face to show on that, just please feel free to mute yourself and take yourself off camera. Equally, if you want to mute yourself, I'm going to do that afterwards, just so that we're not interfering with Neil in his presentation. So yeah, Lisa's recording this. Mute yourself. We're going to send this round, and also afterwards, Lisa will send around an opt-in form if you're happy for Neil and Glow to have your details to either share further information or add you to their newsletter. So yeah, without further ado, I think we'll kind of try and keep this to around 40-45 minutes, so you actually get time to have some lunch too, as well as do some learning. But just to introduce Neil and Glow. So Neil's Managing Director of Glow UK, which is an easy to use online platform that helps you deliver fast, robust and cost-effective online research. And Neil's obviously here to tell you much more about it. Over to you.
Thank you, Shifra. Hi, everyone. So I'm Neil. I am Managing Director, as Shifra said, of this consumer insights platform that's going to change your world, called Glow. And we are a business headquartered out of Australia originally, slightly unusually, started over there and moving this way of the world. I'll tell you about Glow in a minute, but I thought it would be useful to introduce myself a little bit and my background as well. So I've been in the market research industry for over 20 years, and I started off as a classically trained researcher, BMRB in those days, and now part of TNS, and kind of worked my way up from a research executive to a research director via some of the usual suspects, GfK and Harris Interactive. So for the first sort of decade, I was very much kind of in your world of research and insight delivery, and then I kind of morphed over more into business development, account management, and more panel and technology. So my research career to date has seen me at the intersection of research and insight, audience and panels, and technology and software as a service. And that's pretty much what Glow represents, actually. It's a culmination of all of those things. And so I'm delighted to be here today and supporting the ICG Lunch and Learn sessions to tell you a little bit more about what Glow's about, where and why and how you would want to use us as a platform to help support some of the research needs. So I want this to be interactive. If you have any questions, then please, there's not that many of us, so please shout out and or put them into the chat. I will have some stages within the session where I bring myself back on screen and stop presenting so that we can have a little conversation around a few of the areas that I've outlined. And yeah, probably sort of 30-35 minutes of me talking and you listening, and obviously ask as you go. So thanks everyone for your time today in advance, and I look forward to telling you about our story. So I shall share my screen and just introduce Glow in a bit more detail. Just check all the technology works beautifully. Lovely. Okay. I think you can see my screen. If Lucy or Shifra, you could just say that you can, that would be fantastic. All good?
Fine.
Yeah, marvelous. Okay, fantastic. So, okay, just setting the scene for today's session, introducing myself, which I've done, and the Glow platform. Just give you a bit of background about our positioning in the ecosystem of research and insight. Tell you a little bit about partnering with Glow, why you would want to and when you would want to, and how our customers work with us presently. Talk you through the Glow workflow so that you can see how it works visually. I'll end with telling you about the ICG member offer that we have an agreement with the committee for, and then we will have an opportunity for some Q&A at the end, but as I said, please do ask questions as we go. Okay, so let's start with Glow in a nutshell. You know, the typical sort of questions that I get asked when I am reaching out to different members of the research community. So come on then, you know, what is so special about you compared with other platforms? And the reality is there's a lot of competition out there in our industry for, especially in the world of technology and automation. You know, there's a clear move away from traditional research as we all kind of grew up on to more rapid and agile ways in collecting data. And our mission as a business is to get quality data into the hands of our customers and users more quickly, which then helps you as our customers to focus on adding value, in your case, a lot of the time for your end clients, and to help them create better decisions for their businesses. And how do we help you achieve this? So what we have done, and the way that we have set up our platform, is to create a really intuitive workflow that's transforming the way in which our customers can run projects end to end. And by that, I mean be able to create a survey through our inbuilt survey tool, to be able to target different audiences, either through integrated panels that we have agreements with on our platform, or bringing your own audiences. It may be customer databases, it may be other panels through the platform. There's a lot of flexibility in the way that you can bring data sources through our platform. And then that all feeds through into a real-time analytics suite where you can slice and dice data, you can create crosstabs, you can do some emerging theming and storytelling. And it's the joined up workflow and the nature of being able to get from survey design all the way through to analysis and evaluation of the data, and not having to debundle that through, you know, having a survey monkey at one end to write the survey, to then have to go to a panel company to get your access to audiences, and then a separate data package or BI tool to be able to do your analysis. Joining all of that together in one workflow is where we're really starting to make some waves within the industry, because as you can imagine, that creates some great efficiencies in how you can run projects and research projects quantitatively. So, you know, a lot of customers I speak to or prospects I speak to say, well, that's helpful, but what is it that is really standing out for Glow in the market? And I kind of boil it down to three things when, from customer feedback. The first, I think, is critical. It's balance. And I've worked in a number of different agencies and represented the industry at events. And what I have noticed over time is it's very hard to get the right blend between speed to insight, at the right cost, still maintaining data quality and being able to do everything in a timely fashion. And I'm not saying that Glow has absolutely nailed every element of that, but I do believe that we offer a really strong blend in the market at the moment of being able to tick all 4 of those boxes. And you know, hopefully from what I show you, you'll understand what I mean. But it's you know, there are so many things at the moment in our industry, a race to the bottom in terms of panel costs, but often at the expense of quality. Some of the bigger agencies that you're competing against will not be able to deliver things at speed. They're still quite archaic in their processes. And of course, in order for you to be able to, you know, challenge some of the Goliaths of the industry, you've got to be able to deliver value, and often that means data at speed and cost, so that you can concentrate on adding your value through storytelling. And you know, I believe that we've got a great balance in achieving a blend of those 4 things. The second is our flexibility. So we're not a one-size-fits-all platform. We have great flexibility from, at one end of the spectrum, self-service, and the ability to just jump on and create your own surveys and run them without having to speak to another human, because of the nature of the automation built in, through to managed service. So if you are representing a client who's got something perhaps a little bit more strategic and tricky, and you need to have a conversation and you need some support, then we've got a great team to be able to provide that support. And you can work with us across that spectrum. And we offer different rates at different requirements. And we're very tailored in our approach to how we work with our customers. And then the third is that real-time data access. So because of our dashboards that we've got built into the platform, the data flows as it's captured and the responses are captured in real time. So you can do some emerging theming and storytelling really easily on the Glow platform. And that can often support stakeholder questions much earlier in the process and help guide the analysis. Because you're able to jump on and create crosstabs and create views of the data that can support emerging KPIs and themes from the data that you're either trying to validate, or even new information that you're trying to find that is available there and then for you to be able to share. Okay, and what does this add in terms of value to our customers? Well, I often think that the best way to talk about yourself is through the eyes and ears and mouth piece of one of your customers. And so I'm not going to read this quote verbatim, but I do like it because it does accentuate everything that I believe that we offer as a business at Glow. It's that aspect of being able to get data, more data earlier in the process to help customers to deliver bang for their buck. But what I particularly like is the buzz that this has created with this specific agency in telling stories with confidence. And what we're trying to achieve as a business. We want to be the enabler for our customers to be able to stand out, whether it be you representing an end customer, or whether it be the end customer themselves being able to shine. Okay, and how does it all work? So in the all-in-one workflow, there's 3 key things that you're doing here. You're gathering market data by writing a survey and sending it out to targeted audiences. And then you're able to share and publish your insights through the real-time analytics. And of course, what you would most often do as a researcher is use the dashboarding for early storytelling, but be able to export the data to then do your own analysis offline. And there are easy ways to export our data into CSV and into Excel to be able to load that up into other tools and create data tables. And one of the key areas of focus for us as a business is efficiency. And I'm trying to demonstrate here for you that on the left-hand side, if you look at the key steps that might be associated with an average research program, what we're doing with an automated platform like ours is significantly cutting down the manual effort. So you might do the more of the heavy lifting at the design and at the analysis stage, but the platform allows you to get from end to end much more quickly and to not have to worry about that phase. Even when you're self-serving, there's so much automation built in that it can help you to deliver results more quickly. And these are the areas in which we support our clients. So we often talk about getting data into the hands of our customers more quickly. It's not just you as a user, but also businesses being able to get data across their stakeholders a lot more quickly as a result of the ability to share that information. So we're very agile in creating rapid insights and helping you write surveys, target audiences, and analyze the results in one place. One of the other real strengths of ours is, unlike a lot of other insight platforms, we're trying to disrupt the cost model here as well. And rather than charging a significant fees up front, which doesn't resonate with our industry at all, when you are getting paid by your clients in arrears for you doing the work, why should you have to pay massive fees up front to be able to use a platform to enable you to run that research? So from a cost flow and cash flow perspective, we trust our customers, we don't lock them in, and you'll find out later when we talk about the ICG member offer that I am offering some great value discounts for members to be able to jump on and use Glow. And from my perspective, I want people to be using our platform and coming back to us because they've got value from the platform, not because they feel they have to use it because they've made an upfront commitment. Okay, some of the applications of Glow, they are manyfold, but I suppose the key ones that we support are quick turnaround insights. So things like U&A and brand tracking, for sure. Rapid feedback on new products and services. Supporting new business. So a lot of our work is through media and ad agencies when they're pitching for business, and they can use our platform to very quickly capture data to support how they're running those pitches. And especially during COVID times, the inability to get in front of your clients and have to stand out when you're pitching for new business it does help to be able to feed in robust insights into that process. We're also supporting things like campaign effectiveness and PR as well. All of these are areas where perhaps you might do more ad hoc research rather than more strategic and longitudinal research, and that's really our sweet spot. And then in terms of response targeting, there are a couple of ways to do that. You can either use our panel integration to collect data through the platform, or you can bring your own audiences through the platform, and I'll show you that later. But it's that flexibility to be able to do either rather than just one that does help our customers to capture data for a number of use cases. Right. Before I get to that offer, I'm going to do two things. One is just pause and see if there are any questions. So let's do that first. Oh, good. There's a few of you that I didn't know had joined that have joined since I started. Excellent. Any immediate questions and thoughts?
So I'd be kind of interested to know, like, what kind of feedback you've had from independent researchers that are using your platform. Because I know you're quite big in Australia, aren't you? Is that right? Where you're originally from, like, as in where the business started. So how are you finding it working with that type? Because I understand you sort of a quick turnaround in agencies, but how are you finding? What's the feedback there?
Yeah, it's really good actually with the independence there. What we tend to get positive feedback about is that flexibility. So the independents are saying sometimes they need to do something that involves a much smaller quant element. And so the ability to be able to just jump on, take some emerging findings from perhaps a qual phase and be able to then validate through quant, but to be able to do that cost effectively, that's one good piece of feedback. But they also said they work across a range of different use cases. So sometimes the independents will be have relationships with brands where they've been able to see off some of the bigger agencies, and because of the, because they've got some heritage relationships and because of their ability to do to be senior and deliver insights. And so sometimes that means using a platform where they do need the support to be able to run that program end to end. And the positive feedback from independents is to have, on the one hand, the ability to go and do something quickly, and then on the other hand, to be able to partner with Grow, to be able to represent the client to run something that is more strategic and perhaps more meaty in scale, and not to have to go to two different platforms to run those use cases, to be able to do that through one platform. So those are the two areas that we get the most positive feedback. Hi, Kath.
Hi, Neil. I just wanted to ask a question about quality, because I know you mentioned quality, and I guess it's a really important sort of part of the offer, isn't it? That the people that we're surveying are the right people, that they are who they say they are. So I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, that's a good question, Kath, and actually one where we, when we were setting out, it was one of the key pillars that we were growing the platform on, because we wanted to offer easy access to data, but we didn't want it to be at the expense of quality and joining that race to the bottom that is rather prevalent in our industry right now, where you can get, you can often sign up and get responses for 70-80p a complete, and you have no idea where people are coming from. They're transient, they're not signed up and vetted. So we've got, let me just focus a little bit on the audience piece then. We have created global API integration through our platform with Dynata, formerly Research Now and SSI. I'm sure many of you have worked with those companies previously. That is a full global integration, which means that you can pick your audience definitions through our platform. And of course, they can be premium in terms of sample cost, but they are absolutely guaranteed in terms of quality. It's a former business that I worked at actually in my time. I've worked with a couple of people who are on this call from my time at Research Now as well. So I know their business model really well. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't sacrificing quality for speed, and that goes back to what I said before about balance. When it's cheaper, but we recognise as well that that might price you out of jobs. So what we do also offer is the ability for you to bring your own panels through our platform. And when I say your own panels, that might be literally your own databases or your customers' databases, but it also, we've created what we call soft integrations with a couple of other panel companies as well, who are more, I guess, what we call sample aggregators and marketplaces. So we've got Pure Spectrum signed up to our platform, and we've also got Cint. and they have worked quite hard in making sure that their panels are of high quality as well, because of course they're not their own panels. They aggregate across different panel sources to be able to get reach, but you know, they have represented themselves much better in the industry now than perhaps when they first started out, when they were really taking on the Tolunas and Research Nows of the world to try and get access to data. So we think very carefully about the panels that we partner with. We don't just partner with anyone, and that is part of our philosophy, to make sure that we, you know, we're not eroding our brand by being associated with these sorts of cowboy outfits that do exist in our marketplace.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Kath. Anyone else? No, okay, great. So what I'd like to do is bring this to life a little bit by giving you a short demo of our platform. I certainly will not go through chapter and verse of every element of the platform, but I did want to give you a sense of how to use Glow, and for you to be able to visualize some of the key areas of the workflow that I've already introduced earlier in the session. So probably 10 to 15 minutes of a bit of a platform demo, and I'll then come back, have another quick session on Q&A and talk through the offer for ICG members to be able to join up quickly and get stuck in and use us on projects that you might have out there right now. Okay, so back to my screen. Okay, so when you log into the Glow platform and into our dashboard, you'll be presented with an area where you can create project folders. So this is just a test installation that I use to do demonstrations and to capture some quick insights on behalf of customers. And I've created a dummy study that I'm going to use as a way to bring Glow to life. So when you go into a project folder, you can create different surveys side by side. And what you would do typically is, if you represent a number of different clients, you would create a separate subfolder for each client. And then what you'd be able to do is you can create a new survey on the right-hand side, some project settings. We've got an area called resources, which allows you to store loads of information that will relate to that client. It may be the brief, it may be some desk research, it may be the qual report, things that you can associate with this project that are all stored in one place, so that we have a nice repository that you can use our platform for. And if you do need project support, you are able to tap into our in-house team to support you beyond using the platform yourself. So let me jump in and show you the workflow. So if you have already created a survey, the platform defaults by taking you through to the analysis portal within our platform. If you start a new survey, and this is how the data is represented. It's represented initially graphically down the page, and I'll come and show you some of the features and functionality of that in a minute. If, on the other hand, you're starting a new survey, you will start at the other end of the workflow, which is edit. Let me just spend a little bit of time talking through the four stages of our workflow. We've created a platform at Glow which is very purposely designed to be straightforward to use. And what I've found over time is research and insight platforms can be overly complex. They're built by researchers for researchers, and you know, you need a PhD sometimes to figure out how to use them, and that can be a barrier. So we have created a very, very intuitive workflow. You edit and build your survey here. You preview and sign off your survey in the next stage, which I'll come on to. Get responses. It's a bit Ron Seal, but you know, we want our users to understand that this is where you would collect audience data and the different channels that you can set up to be able to do that. And then it flows through to analyze, which is where you can do some number crunching and storytelling. So in Edit, you build your survey down the page. It's a very sort of straightforward vanilla UI. There's a load of different settings, which I won't go into in too much detail. One thing to note is that we have an algorithm built in that helps you to gauge the length of your survey. And the main reason for that is when it comes to getting responses, and if you're buying data through panels integrated into our platform, the two main criteria for governing the cost of your data are LOI and incidence of the audience. So the LOI is calculated as you build the survey, and there are different thresholds that we have built in. We're very much minded in the research world to work with customers who don't want to run really big, long surveys. If you want to do that, then Glow's not the right place, and we would recommend you working with other partners. But if you want to do something that is relatively quick and straightforward, we have micro, which is 0 to 2 minutes, mid 2 to 5, long 5 to 10, and max 10 to 15. So you still run 15-minute surveys on Glow, and on our UI and our interface, that's probably about 60 questions. So you can still run fairly meaty projects on our platform, but we are very focused on not running big, long 30 to 40-minute surveys on our platform. The idea is to use Glow when you want to run something that is where you want speed and a quick turnaround of results. You then can build your survey through our range of question types. So we've got pretty much everything that you would ever need. We don't have a conjoint question, but apart from that, we've got single and multi-choice. We've got rank style questions. We've got questions where you can put them on a scale, and we've done some automation to build in presets, so scales that are already built for you as a user. We've got online verbatim text and multi-line text. NPS is built into the platform, and I'll show you on our dashboard that actually creates the NPS score in real time on the fly, and you can then look at NPS by different groups very easily through the dashboard. We've got matrix questions, we've got rating questions, etc. We've got a built-in question library that tends to be used by less research savvy users. You guys will be at the other end of that. You understand survey design and logic, and you probably have your own surveys that you design, but there is the ability to tap into pre-loaded questions. We've got a section area where you can add media, so you can add a video, audio files, or if you're running a concept test, you can add different images that you want to test. So there's a number of different features and functions to help build a survey. I won't go into depth on each one of those, but just to show you how easy it is to build a question, you enter your question and a description. You can add an image. You can paste from Word, add different choices. You can put a minimum and maximum of how many you would want them to complete, and then that saves down, and you can preview that question. You can borrow from previous questions. You can copy from previous questions as well. Okay, when you've built your survey, you then preview the survey, and what it does is it defaults to a mobile view, but you can toggle down here at the bottom to looking at that on a desktop view as well. So when you're signing off your survey, you just go through survey and fill in and test your routing and test logic. We've got a really nice feature here where rather than having multiple test links where you've got screen outs, you can test that your screen outs are working, and then jump forward to another part of the survey and carry on testing, so that it all happens online in one environment, and you don't have to especially if you're getting your clients to test the survey, it's a really nice way for them just to have one link where they can test and sign off the survey. You can then, let's just go through, you can add images, you can, the mood question shows a sad face to a smiley face. Your rating question can be done in stars. You've got your NPS question on your standards scale of 0 to 10, etc. And then you submit that survey and it's done. When you have tested your survey, you then move through the workflow to get responses. And there are a couple of ways just to explain to you here. The first is the consumer panel is the Dynata integration. So on here, we've got a API interface that writes back to Dynata where you can self-govern where you want to do your research. So you can say, right, I want to do it in the UK, it defaults to English. You want to do it on children parenting, you want 500 responses. It's a high incidence audience, so you say, I want to be able to achieve this in 1 day. The API has checks and balances built in, which says if that's feasible to do on their panels, then you will get a green light. If it's not, it'll flag that and say, you're joking, no chance, you need to change your criteria. So, you know, some of that guardianship of managing research properly is already built in here. You can exclude respondents from previous waves. You can tag quotas. You can target different audiences through the API, either NatRep or I think we've got 4 people trying to do schoolwork in the house here and affecting my broadband. But you can either pick a nationally representative, either Dynata's own NatRep or GLOW's, their ONS standard NatRep targets, which are represented below, gender and age and region, or you can add a search attribute and say, actually, I want to find people who are specifically profiled on Dynata's panels. And Dynata haven't handed us the keys for their entire profiling, but they have given us through the API, and therefore you as users, the ability to go and target specific. So if you're doing a finance survey, you can add specific finance products that are owned and do some more direct targeting of different audiences. So that's you would then go save and you would launch that channel, and you can set up different channels for different audiences or different markets. That's when you're using the inbuilt panel. If you want to bring your own panel through the platform, we've got a redirect section that allows you to make an agreement with your own panel providers that you've got relationships with. And when you use GLOW, you would negotiate your panel cost with your provider, and then there is a small additional hosting fee to be able to use GLOW end-to-end to be able to capture the data on our platform, which is 40 pence per complete. So just factor that in. If you are negotiating with a Luna or a Cint or whatever, it's their cost plus the 40p is the CPI. If you're using Dynata through the through the platform, it's obviously the data costs that build based on our rate card relationship with Dynata directly. You can also then create a survey and take it to a client database. So you might say if you've got a CRM or a database, you want to set a response limit from that database of 500 interviews. You create that link and you mail merge it back to the database, and the data then sits in our platform. Again, there's a 40p hosting in effect to be able to do a client database survey where you get to write the survey and analyze the data through our platform. So those are the ways to collect data. And then the final part of our workflow is to come through to the dynamic dashboard. This data flows through in real time. It's interactive, so you can create filters through the dashboard itself. So you can say, I want to just look at females, and that will rebase everything for you on just females. You can create filters through this left-hand window pane. So you can create filters by question. So you just want to look at people who are based in the UK. You can apply that filter, and then that will again filter the data on the fly. You can, by default, it shows you all of the data. So that question on mood is effectively represented as a happiness index on our platform. So the sad face to the smiley face is a donut for happiness. Your NPS is also... Hello. Sorry, was there a question? No, okay. NPS is then represented as well. So you can go in and let's just have a look at the data as a whole. You could, for instance, go in, compare data side by side by different filters that you've set up. So you can say, I want to look at the UK's NPS score versus Spain, versus France, and it gives you a data view where you can compare responses to that question by different filters. And it's just a very neat way of being able to do some emerging analysis on the platform. And it appears as a bite-sized graph, but you can expand the view to see the data as a graph on the left-hand side, and then obviously as a table on the right-hand side, and you can toggle back and forth through that to review your findings as they emerge. And this is really powerful. A lot of our customers love the fact that they can get instant access to the data, and it all speaks to our own ethos as a business of being able to get data into your hands as quickly as possible. But this is unweighted data. Obviously, this is the raw data as it's coming through. And if you do want to do some more analysis that's on the final data, you can obviously export that data into CSV or Excel, or create a crosstab where you can generate some fields and build some tables within the platform as well. So there are a number of different functions where our customers are really benefiting from being able to address their clients' questions just much more quickly in the project process, because it's available in real time as the data comes through. Okay, that is as much as I think I need to share with you on how the platform works. Let me open up the floor again to for questions. Anything jumping out, and observations and feedback, would be great as well. It doesn't have to be a specific question that relates to anything that you're looking at the moment.
Hi Neil, it's Phil.
Hi Phil.
I just wondered whether you've got any other exports facilities there, like a triple S.
At the moment, it's CSV or Excel only. We don't have triple S currently available, but you can export. You can take the export and load that into SPSS very easily, because the way the data spits out is your classic rows by columns data view. So it's compatible with most BI tools and most data packages, but it doesn't export into triple S right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No, okay. So final part of the presentation today is to talk through what we've agreed with the ICG to support their members, to support you guys. So let me talk through that again on screen. Okay. So we're representing an offer in two ways, actually. The first way is if you want to use our platform to be able to jump on, do your own quant research that is complementary with other things that you are doing, and you don't need any managed support, then you are invited to sign up to our Pro plan, which is our kind of self-service plan, where there's no upfront fee for a period of 12 months, which would normally be £100 a month or £750 annually. And what that does is it gives you access to Glow's full platform suite, our survey platform and tool, access to the panels and the dashboards, self-service management, and then you pay for your data by credit card on a pay-as-you-go basis. So your only cost is the data that you collect through the platform. There's no other kind of subscription fee. You still obviously have technical help desk support. You can talk to me as well anytime. I'm happy to build a relationship with you and support your research needs. And so to redeem this offer, just talk to me. Come and find me at Neil@Glowfeed. We can establish any projects that you might have in pipeline that you think it would be great to trial on Glow, and we can get you set up and running really easily. It would be fantastic to just get new users to give us a go. Really straightforward to do that. If you are actually working with end corporates and end clients where you think you might want to be able to tap into a wider service where you might need our help either at setup or to help launch channels because you're going to a more niche audience, the audience picker through our platform is accessible to the entire Dynata consumer inventory of about 1.5 million panelists in the UK and up to 60 million globally, but it doesn't have access directly to some B2B audiences. You would need to work with us and Dynata to reach those audiences. It's still possible to, but you can't do that as a self-serve. So audiences like healthcare or high net worth or financial decision makers, IT decision makers are all accessible through Dynata, but we would need to obviously have a discussion around the cost for that at an audience by audience level. So when you're doing those sorts of projects, you would typically want to sign up to our enterprise plan. We're offering membership for free for no fee for up to 3 months, which is normally reserved for customers that are committing to a minimum spend annually of 20k. So we would set you up with the enterprise pilot. You can actually have up to 5 users. I know with you guys often there's only 1 or 2 of you anyway, but you can have up to 5 users. A managed account, giving you access to the full platform suite. Rather than paying by credit card, we would invoice you on a monthly basis for any projects that you've run through our platform for the data that you've used. And obviously, if you do need to use us to support you running projects, that you can tap into our managed services against the rate card that we have in place. And I'm working with a member of the ICG at the moment on a big global brand where it's a multi-country study and it requires a little bit more heavy lifting. So I believe that there are good opportunities where you are opening up relationships with end customers where we can support you to be able to run those programs. And again, I'm keeping this simple. If you have a use case that supports this, just contact me, neil@glowfeed.com, and I would be delighted to have those discussions with you and see how we can get you onboarded and using the platform. So great. I'm going to just come back to the main screen. If there's any final questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining today and for your time. And I hope you like what you saw. And if you've got friends within the independent network that you think actually weren't here today but might benefit, then I'd love for those introductions. So thank you, guys. Hi Heather, thanks for joining. It's nice to speak to you again as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, everyone's got some nice comments for you. Everyone impressed with the dashboard and appreciate, I think, the member benefit discount that you've got. So I think you've probably got some interesting conversations to follow up on, Neil, and I think it's great for the members too. So yeah, appreciate you taking the time.
Fantastic, Shifra. Really great to join up to these Lunch and Learns. Was this the first one then? Was this the inaugural Lunch and Learn? Lovely.
We were our pilot. Yeah, absolutely. So and we've got others sort of now following. So yeah, it's a great start. Thank you, Neil. It's been good.
Lovely. Cheers, Shifra, and I'll look forward to hearing from some of your members soon.
Yeah, we'll send it around. Okay, cheers then. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.